Imagine being hated before you even speak. Before this man became the emperor of Europe, he was nothing. A poor outsider with a thick Italian accent, bullied at school and betrayed by his own hero. So how did this man, a foreigner, not just survive the bloodiest revolution in history, but ride it all the way to the top? This is the story of Napoleon Bonaparte, not the emperor, but the making of the legend, the first 30 years. Napoleon Bonaparte was born in 1769 on the island of Corsica, which had just been sold to France. But here's the irony. As a kid, he hated the French. He was a freedom fighter, a Corsican nationalist. At 10, he sent to the École Militaire in Briey, France. He arrived speaking Italian, not French. In the eyes of the French, he was an Italian barbarian. To the Corsicans, he was a trader's son who worked for the French. The rich aristocrats mock him. They call him the little scamp from Corsica. This sense of being a double outsider instilled a chilling realization in the young Napoleon. In this world, there are no eternal allies, only eternal interests. Driven by a resolve to best the world at its own game, he immersed himself in his studies, delving deep into the intricacies of military tactics and the mathematics of ballistics. One winter, he orchestrated a sprawling snowball campaign, directing the construction of elaborate icy ramparts. As his fellow students fell into rank behind him, it became clear he was not merely engaged in child's play, he was mastering the art of command. In 1793, France was in a state of total chaos. King Louis XVI was dead, and the vital port of Toulon had been seized by the British. The revolution had reached a desperate impasse. The French army is a mess. Most of the aristocratic officers have fled or been executed. The French command was hollowed out by a massive technical vacuum. Just as the French forces stood powerless against the British occupation of Toulon, Napoleon, aged 24, stepped onto the stage. This is where Napoleon's brain kicks in. He doesn't just charge in. He's a mathematician. He looks at the harbor and sees the one weak spot, a fortress they call Little Gibraltar. His logic: if I take that hill, my cannons can force the British Navy to sail away. It's geometry, not just bravery. In the assault, he's stabbed in the thigh with the bayonet, but he takes the hill. The British retreat. Overnight, this unknown captain is promoted to brigadier general. At 24, his name is printed in every newspaper in France for the first time. 2 years later, 1795, Napoleon is down on his luck, even removed from the generals list. He's broke, depressed, living in a tiny Paris hotel. Then another explosion. 30,000 royalist rebels march on the government palace. The government is terrified. They need someone who doesn't care about being loved. They call Napoleon. Other generals hesitated. They didn't want the blood on their hands. Napoleon, he gives his famous order: clear the streets with a whiff of grape shot. He lines up cannons on the steps of the church. When the mob approaches, he doesn't fire warning shots. He massacres them. He kills hundreds in 10 minutes. The rebels call him a butcher, but the government, they call him the savior of the Republic. He gets total power in command of the army. 1796, Napoleon takes command of the Army of Italy. What does he get? 30,000 starving, shoeless men. No pay, no food. They were the dregs of France. But Napoleon gives them magic. He tells them, "Soldiers, you are naked and hungry. I will lead you into the richest plains in the world. There you will find honor, glory, and wealth." And he delivers. In his first campaign, he smashes the Austrians in just 2 weeks. At the Bridge of Arcole, he grabs a flag and charges through a hail of bullets. He's not just a general, he's a front-line soldier. He wins battle after battle, Montnot, Lodi, Rivoli. He forces the mighty Austrian Empire to beg for peace. And here's his genius. He doesn't just fight. He starts his own newspaper to tell his story. He creates his own legend. He comes back to Paris not just as a general, but as the hero of France. The politicians are scared of him now, and they should be. But Napoleon isn't done. He goes to Egypt. The military campaign is a disaster, but culturally, he brings back the Rosetta Stone. He brings science. He makes himself look like a genius. While he's away, France falls apart again. The government is corrupt, weak. Napoleon sees his moment. He abandons his army in Egypt and sails back to France. November 9, 1799, the coup of 18 Brumaire. Napoleon walks into the French parliament to seize power, but it almost fails. The politicians scream, "Outlaw! Dictator!" They physically attack him. Napoleon actually panics. He freezes.
But his brother saves him. He runs outside and yells to the soldiers, "They tried to assassinate your general." The soldiers snap. They march in with fixed bayonets and kick the politicians out. The coup succeeds. Napoleon is named first consul of France. He is 30 years old. 10 years ago, he was a nobody with an accent. Tonight, he owns France.